Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. We are coming to you from SHOT Show. Now, first of all, I want to thank the good folks at Right to Bear and Palmetto State Armory who were kind enough to put us up. And I want to thank all the great people behind the camera with Forge Relations, which is making all of this possible. But most importantly, I want to thank Frank Cannon, president of Right to Bear. Frank, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it.
What an honor, Bill. I tell you, we're so proud to have an association with you and the folks at Forge.
Yeah, great
we're
people.
Yeah.
I'm very flattered and honored to be able to work with you guys. I want to talk to you a little bit about what some people call self-defense insurance, what some people call self-defense coverage, whatever it may be. And what I really want, the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is there's this phenomenon going on at SHOT Show this week where we got a couple of other competitors who candidly are running around kicking each other in the shins the whole time. And it's getting a little ugly. And it's getting a little personal. And I'm not going to name names, and I'm not going to say who's responsible and talk about who the first aggressor was and all that stuff. But you and I have had a conversation about self-defense coverage in general. And I think that the folks at Right to Bear have a mildly different view on how people should be looking at it. We kind of talk about this life vest analogy.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about it, and I was like, dang, Frank, that is a really good analogy. Let's talk to the folks about it. So why don't you kind of explain to me where the folks in Right to Bear come down on not only just the product as a whole, but the industry as a whole?
Yeah. So, you know, it's really interesting. There are 225 or 250 million people who've got firearms, and there are about 1.3 million people that have legal defense protection in our country.
Wow.
So we've got a whole large pool of people who really need our product, and we got these competitors who are out here fighting with each other, and we just don't want to get involved in the bruised shins.
Right.
So here's where we are. We admire our friends in the business. We admire those who help pave the way. And we're just going to continue to hold our head high and say, we're thankful for you guys who paved the way for us, but we're going to strive to do some things better, and that's exactly what we're doing at Right to Bear. We believe that everybody needs this protection. We've got an outstanding product. We offer the most value-centered, cost-effective product in the business at a price that the blue-collar man can afford. And I don't mean that.
But that's important. It's accessibility to this protection.
Amen.
Right? And right now we're living in a time where the cost of everything is crazy.
Yes.
More and more people are living paycheck to paycheck. People who are in the upper middle class are struggling because of the cost of things. And so being able to provide a level of protection at a cost-efficient, approachable price is important to, protecting everyone in this country.
It really is. And there's so many intricacies to these competitors now. Some are insurance, some are not. At Right to Bear, we're not an insurance product, and that gives us a lot of advantages, Bill, because we have the flexibility to be able to cover some things that don't necessarily follow the insurance rule of law. For example, we don't have recoupment fees in our product. So if our clients were somehow found guilty
or take a plea deal because the evidence is
Yes.
such that that's the best move for them to make.
Well, and what we're seeing around the country is we're seeing activist DAs right now that will move their platform to a local press group to try to sway a jury or public opinion.
Well, and worse than that, they oftentimes operate in geographical areas where the juries are going to be inclined to buy into that too.
That's right, and we've got true innocent people out there that are being found guilty. We're not going to seek retribution or to try and get our money back, where our competitors say in the fine print that if you are found guilty, we have the right to recoup our legal costs back.
Right.
We're just not going to do that. Our people can't afford that to begin with. It's just not a good plan.
It's not a good plan. And as a defense attorney, I can tell you that sometimes, if you got a person who is looking at 6 years in prison on a felony, and the prosecutor's offering you plead to a misdemeanor and get a slap on the wrist and 2 years of probation, and you can't trust 12 idiots in the box that weren't smart enough to get out of jury duty, right? It may be the path of least resistance. And I understand, again, without naming names, but I understand that some other products will then demand reimbursement for the legal expenses.
Yeah, there's no question.
Even though the person made the right move.
Yeah, there's no question that's happening in our industry. Do I think it's fair? No, I don't. But again, we will always admire the people that serve in this business, our partner, friends, and we consider them friends. We just have a different view on the way we serve and cover our members.
Right.
So.
And as a matter of fact, one of the things I wanted the viewers to be aware of is that there's a lot of people out there who like to take these contracts that you supposedly sign and nitpick them and go through it with a fine-tooth comb and say, aha, I got you here. And I know there's at least one content creator, this person right here, who actually took a look at the Right to Bear contract and apparently did not seem to think there was much wrong with it. But you guys put your contract right online for everyone to check out the fine print before they even engage in an agreement with you. Isn't that right?
We do, and transparency and truth are important to us. What you see is what you get, and we have nothing to hide. And so we value people studying what we have to offer. If we're not the product for you, go find a carrier that is, because we want you protected.
That's right.
But again, we stand by the phrase that we're the most value-centered and cost-effective, and we're not going to bat an eye on that. I'll stand behind it till the day I die.
Yeah, and what I want the viewers to also understand is that the difference between an association and an insurance model is the insurance model sometimes limits what the carrier can do. And a lot of people think, oh, they don't want to protect me here, they don't want to provide this service. It's typically, that's not the case. They are actually legally incapable, prohibited from providing that service. And that's the problem when you're operating in the insurance world, where you got federal, state, local regulations all boxing you in. And I think that's why Right to Bear kind of felt that the association model would be the path of least resistance for you to really be able to cater services to your clients.
Amen. Well, I'm an old insurance guy by trade, 37 years, and I've read a lot of contracts. I was always taught to go to the exclusion section first and find out what's not covered first before you actually find out where the value is. But I can tell you that we admire our departments of insurance around the country in each state. But once those departments are filed with each product, they have to adhere to the language in that contract. And we chose a little bit more of a flexible model where we could be flexible to the needs of our members and to make sure that if there was a gray area, we could offer flexibility there where there is very little flexibility on an insurance contract.
Well, to go full circle before we wrap this up, the Life Vest analogy. And so this is what I want the viewers to understand. If you're an everyday carrier, it's like being out in the middle of the ocean every day. Okay, you are out in the middle of the ocean. If you go overboard in any one direction, you're going to the bottom of the ocean unless you have a life vest.
Amen.
We don't really care who made that life vest, do we?
You're right on target. We want to just make sure that you're safe and sound and you're staying afloat.
Right. And so even though we believe that Right to Bear makes the best life vest, there are other life vests that are going to keep people from sinking to the bottom of the ocean, and it may be a better fit for them depending on where they reside and what their individual needs are. We can acknowledge that, right?
We can wholeheartedly acknowledge that and say, go find protection. If we're not the premier choice for you, find someone that is. But give us a shot first.
Give us a shot.
Look at those comparisons.
Well, and this is, and again, we at Washington Gun Law are really picky about not trying to tell you guys how to think. You're all big boys and big girls. You can think for yourselves. We do want to give you all the stuff to think about. And my closing message is I want all of you to have a life vest. And do I believe in the life vest that Right to Bear is producing? I absolutely do. But are there other life vests that are going to keep you from going to the bottom of the ocean? They most certainly are. And you need to find the one that's best fit for you, but you need that life vest. And I just want you to go out. And so whether it is with Right to Bear or some of these other companies who apparently want to just get into a mudslinging contest this week, the bottom line is we just want you covered. Frank, real quick, if people are interested in checking out more about Right to Bear, how can they do that?
They can always call our hotline and we'll field any questions, or they can go to www.protectwithbear.com.
Protectwithbear.com. He's Frank Cannon. He's the president of Right to Bear. Check him out. Frank, thank you so much. I want to thank you not only for the opportunity to work with you guys, I want to thank you for the opportunity to put this on here at SHOT Show and do everything. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and I enjoyed many more years of being able to do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
First individual on call, and for whatever reason, if that goes through, we have actually 3 layers. So we have another and another. So if it continues to ring, it goes from one phone to the next to the next. So we're betting on our chances. The highly compensated team that we have is going to take that phone call. And then from there, they have that privilege, right? They have the attorney-client privilege and that right to share with them, our attorneys, of what just took place. We have a nationwide team of attorneys that's going to be able to reach out to our Arizona attorney to get them on the horn immediately. We've had cases all over the country. Now, you're not truly prepared unless you have Right to Bear back you.
You will always get an attorney-answered hotline, so you will always have a confidential phone call. There are no cap limits for either civil or criminal defense. This covers all forms of self-defense. So from a fist to a firearm, from a fat lip to a dead body, you are covered, and you will have some of the nation's most passionate 2A attorneys in your corner fighting for you. And right now, if you visit my friends at protectwithbear.com and you use the promo code WGL, you will receive 10% off. Listen, you need to protect yourself so that you can protect them. Visit my good friends at protectwithbear.com.